Hi everyone. It's a beautiful day outside. Today I wanted to talk about Star Wars. As always, Star Wars is at the center of online debate. Instead of the usual debates like are Jango and Boba Fett Mandalorians or how to correctly pronounce AT-AT, the debate this time centers around women's anatomy. More specifically, this controversy comes from the fact that women have anatomy, and this makes some men very angry. For some context, Star Wars Outlaws is an upcoming video game set to come out in August. It will be the first open-world Star Wars game, so naturally some people are excited, but the protagonist is a woman, so naturally some people are very upset. On April 9th, a trailer for the game's story was released, and it is compelling. In the first 30 or so seconds, we learn that the criminal underworld is flourishing because the Empire cannot police its territory while fighting a rebellion. Then we're introduced to Kay Vess, the underworld's favorite scoundrel, the protagonist of the game, and of course a woman. We learn that Vess has made a very powerful enemy, and that in order to purchase her freedom, she'll have to steal his fortune. Vess and her axolotl must find a ship, recruit a crew, and pull off the greatest space heist of all time. I think that is about as interesting of a premise as is possible for a Star Wars game, given the fact that I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I'm not a Star Wars fan, so what do I know? I'm having a very hard time determining how others feel about it because none of the online discourse relates to the story. Doesn't even relate to the game. Everyone online is discussing Kay Vess and her perceived lack of femininity. What first exposed me to this faux outrage was this tweet. Devoid of context, I don't think I would have understood what this tweet is about. It is factually the case that this picture shows the all-caps main character for Star Wars Outlaws, but I don't see why that would make someone want the game to fail. As it turns out, this tweeter pays a monthly fee to virtue signal the fact that they are a degenerate. The blue check allows the viewer to understand the lens through which ambiguous tweets should be interpreted, and reinterpreting the tweet given the presence of the blue check, it would seem as though the tweeter is upset that the woman depicted is a woman. But it's a little more nuanced than that, and it's significantly stupider. If you ask this tweeter or any of the hundreds of tweeters who replied what they're so angry about, they wouldn't say it's because Kay Vess is a woman. They would say it's because she's not fuckable enough, but probably in different words. Words like an ugly girl main character. They literally made her cute, then deliberately changed her game model to be ugly. Ugly woke girl trope again and again. I am ashamed to admit that I do have a favorite reply here, and it is just awful. No, I mean it's literally a trap alongside a gif of Admiral Akbar from Return of the Jedi. This tweet comes from a moment in the movie where Admiral Akbar realizes that his fleet has been led into an Imperial ambush. This shot inspired the creation of this image macro during the early aughts, which was widely circulated online. Originally used to imply that something was not what it appeared to be, the meaning of the image eventually morphed to the point that it was used exclusively to reply to pictures of women, implying that the woman in question is transgendered, and that she would lure you in with her beauty before ambushing you with her penis. So, this tweeter's worldview is obviously abhorrent, but their ability to recognize how well this GIF represents their position puts them in an intellectual weight class way above their ideological cohort. Now, unsurprisingly, there are many other bigoted tweets here. Cool looking dude, what's his name? I bet she's a they-them. That's a man, right? Needs a beard. What I really love about the last one is that he is accidentally making an excellent point. He's saying that because Vess doesn't look a certain way, she must be a man, and that as a man, she should have a beard. It goes without saying that beardedness is the ideal state, but to imply that men must have a beard is an embarrassingly bad take. While bearded men like myself are clearly superior to beardless femboys like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the assertion falls apart when you compare my masculinity to the masculinity of beardless men like Alex Pereira or John Cena. In the exact same way that it is ridiculous to say that a man must look a certain way, it is equally ridiculous to say that Kay Vess is not a woman because she doesn't look a certain way. The least desirable segment of society seems to lack this same fervor when men are depicted with masculine features. And of course they do, right? Like men are men, they should look like men. Women are women, they should look like women. And Fine, that's a vile perspective, but at least it's consistent, so if it is someone's earnestly held belief, you can engage with that person in good faith. The problem is that these forever alone types don't seem to mind when male characters have feminine features. Many tweeters are lamenting the good old days when game developers weren't scared to include a hot woman. Nowadays, they've all gone woke to make more money, and that tracks, right? Sure, I mean, we've all heard the phrase, sex doesn't sell, right? We know that. The thing is, many of these tweeters are posting screenshots of video game characters from the good old days, women that are sufficiently arousing, and most of them are from JRPGs. Yes, these characters have feminine features, but so do the male characters. So when you start to piece the argument together, it doesn't quite fit. They yearn for a time when characters looked the way they were supposed to. They post these screenshots of games from that time because, hey, the women are hot, okay? The problem is that the male characters are also hot. So these internet nerds want all game developers to adopt the design philosophies that brought us these feminine women, even though they also brought us these feminine men. They will say that women should be feminine and men should be masculine. But when you look at their arguments holistically, you see that they don't care what men do. They only care when cisgendered women have masculine features or transgendered women exist. Our original tweeter's name is Grizzy, and I wanted to know if he had more intelligent things to say or if this was his intellectual peak, so I went to check out his profile. Immediately, I saw that he is a self-described gaming content creator. So if I didn't already know that he is an asshole, this would have confirmed it. Further, he is from Ohio, and everyone I've ever met from Ohio is a jackass. I scrolled through his tweets and wasn't particularly surprised by what I found. He's very upset that women get leading roles. He's convinced that acknowledging Transgender Day of Visibility on Twitter means that BioWare is trying to kill the Mass Effect franchise. And in fact, he calls the Day of Visibility Mental Illness Day. While I can't say for certain that this person has zero redeeming qualities, I can say that he's not willing to publicly demonstrate any of them. I then went and checked out his channel. Grizzy's most recent upload is titled Star Wars Outlaws NPC Shills Try and All Caps Fail to Hype Game, Pipe, All Caps Lose, All Caps It over criticism of main character. On one side, the thumbnail reads, they're actually praising this, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. And on the other side is a picture of Kay Vess, clip art of an ink stamp that says fail, and the disembodied head of a man with a speech bubble that says, this is Star Wars meets GTA. When considered together, I believe that the video's title and thumbnail accurately portray the level of quality we're dealing with. He complains about nothing for the first 15 seconds, and then we get the money shot face cam, and I love this more than anything. Basically, there's two options here. Right? I mean, either he thought that he looked cool wearing the hat and sunglasses, so he put them on to film with, or he was just wearing the hat and sunglasses beforehand indoors and decided, you know what, I'm not going to take them off. Both of those options are hilarious. I don't know which one I hope is true. Anyway, Grizzy spends most of the video astutely observing that sometimes reaction content creators will embellish or falsify their reactions, and he shows us clips of creators doing exactly that while watching the story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws. Because I apparently have brain damage, I did agree with a couple of his points. First, Ubisoft is dog shit. I can't really argue with that. Second, it is indeed shocking that this man would be willing to pay $100 for the game, but based on his memorabilia collection, I think that he can not only afford the game at that price, but that it would be a fitting addition to a collection that he clearly cares about. About 3 minutes into the video, Grizzy complains because, quote,
if you have just a little bit of fun at this fictional character's expense on Twitter, the pro-Disney NPCs and bots will come for you.
He then forces his humiliation fetish onto his viewers by reading several replies dunking on his tweet that we discussed earlier. He makes an extraordinarily bad faith argument, saying that his critics are unhinged for coming after him as if he had criticized a real person and not just a fictional character, implying that he did only criticize a fictional character. To quote Innuendo Studios, who was quoting George Costanza, the card says moops. Grizzy knows that he's not just criticizing a fictional character. He's criticizing every woman who shares this fictional character's features, and more broadly, he is criticizing every woman who doesn't conform to his expectation. He shares forbidden knowledge with the viewer, letting us know that it was actually more expensive to make the character less hot than he wanted, which is Big if true, but unfortunately, Grizzy does not provide a source, so we're left to take him at his word. Grizzy, if you are out there watching this, I salute you, brother. You're just doing your best, and I'm sure that isn't easy. My goal is not to de-radicalize you. My opinion is that you and your viewers are a lost cause, but you especially because as a content creator, you have a financial stake in being awful, which you're doing a great job at, pal. Really impressive. My goal is to reach young men before they enter the radicalization pipeline, to save them from becoming tiny, bitter losers like yourself.
Wow.
That's it. That's the end of the video. So if you did like the video, I implore you to share it with others that might like it as well, or with anyone that you think needs to see it but is gonna hate it. I knew what I was signing up for when I started to write this script. De-radicalization is hard, but it is important, and I'd like to play a role in it.
Please make sure you smash that like button before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. Let's hit that 20,000 subscribers, and most importantly, thank you all for watching.